full screen. Awesome.
Okay.
Can I?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
So we're going to be hearing from Nicole Matarangas, and she is a professor at a college with adults with different abilities, and she'll be sharing with us how to integrate ourselves in this amazing population. Let's give it up for Nicole.
Good morning, fellow students. Does everyone know what this means? I love you. Yes, I love you in American Sign Language. American Sign Language was created in 1875 to give adults and kids with hearing impairment the opportunity to communicate with their friends, family, and people in their community. Since joining the College of Adaptive Arts, I've learned about 50 words and hand gestures in American Sign Language. But it is the most valuable lesson that my students have taught me is the ability to see the ability in people. So this is Maya. She's a dancer and choreographer. She has a great smile. This is Jake, also has a great smile. He practices yoga and mindfulness meditation on a daily basis. Here I have Gracie. She is a musician and songwriter. She's always got her Hannah Montana guitar in tow. And right here we have Natalie and Saeed. They are artists who often collaborate and make amazing masterpieces. Here on both sides of our recent graduate and valedictorian are the two founders, Deanna and Pam. And so just being part of this community has really showed me that when I came in there, before I was a professor and a board member, I thought people with epilepsy or cerebral palsy or Down syndrome or autism didn't work. I'd never seen them work, so I figured all people with these disabilities didn't work. And this bunch has proven me wrong. For the most part, people with severe disabilities, I, like a lot of people in communities worldwide, thought that they didn't work, they couldn't contribute to society. And I'd like to share with you this picture. This is my friend Steve Hull. He's a professor. He also has severe cerebral palsy. He's a professor. He's also a Lyft driver. And he's a husband of 19 years to the valedictorian that I just showed you. So Steve has really changed my idea and perspective on like what people with disabilities could do and what they wanted to do and aspired to do. And so I would like to share with you guys how integration, we've gone from a model of institution for adults with disabilities where we used to see the disability, and we've gone towards a system of inclusion where we see the person, and how I'd like to encourage us to keep going forward into a system of integration where we integrate ourselves with these communities and allow them to be part of our communities. So to talk about the institution, this is a picture from Willowbrook School for the Mentally Retarded. In 1965, Senator Robert Kennedy went to Willowbrook, and he said this of all the schools that he visited bordered on a viper or snake pit. The students were unattended, disregarded, neglected, and often abused. Even though it was considered a school, out of the 6,000 students, only less than 20% received any education, and that was about 2 hours a week to make crafts that they sold outside of the school. The ratio was 50-1, so 50 students to each care provider or teacher, so there was barely any time for feeding. So 60% of the students never learned to feed themselves. 65% of them were not toilet trained. And so When Geraldo Rivera did his NBC News expose in 1972, he compared it to also a viper pit, but he said what he would remember most was the smell. It smelled of filth, it smelled of disease, and it smelled of death. Not a good place for anyone to be. And because disability is a cultural construct, I'd like to remind us that we have the power to change the way we see people with disabilities. We don't have to stick with the historical aspect of unclean or abnormal or a dark secret, because lots of times parents were told by their pastors, by their doctors and their family that places like Willowbrook were the best for them. And we see that that is not how it is. Here, I would like to also remind us that people with hidden disabilities, like myself, would have ended up in Willowbrook. People with anxiety or PTSD or ADHD could have often been in this type of place as well. So it is really great that we've moved away from this model and we all have the opportunity to be here. I know our society is full of great people who want equality for everyone, and what I'd like to say is that for people with disabilities, it's a little bit more than that. It's about equity. So not everyone gets the same fair treatment, but everyone gets set up for an equitable treatment where they have what they need to succeed. So here is an example of that. Everyone gets a box, you're equal. Guy in the wheelchair can't get on the box. Little girl can barely see with the box. Here is equity. You get what you need to succeed. So we're going to move towards that. And like I said, disability is a cultural construct, but we can choose to see disability as negative and abnormal, or we can stop focusing on the problem and see the person, see the ability. Inclusion started as a model in about 1948 when the Paralympics were the inception of the Paralympics, which happened, it coincided with the London Games of 1948. Servicemen coming back from war were able to race with each other in wheelchairs, and that started, you know, the Paralympics, so that now they have that and it coincides with the Olympics. Every time it comes around, you can watch people compete on a level with other athletes who have similar disabilities. And in 1968, Eunice Kennedy Shriver founded the Special Olympics, which allows regional athletes to compete, but also to practice leadership skills, healthy competition, and just build relationships. So we see in these two areas that inclusion is very positive, it's very helpful, and in 1990, it became law in the United States. The Americans with Disabilities Act was passed, giving people with disabilities access to work, to school, and to, you know, free spaces that we all are part of. So here is a list of first-person language. I would like to suggest that in every draft, every context, and every communication, that we see the ability. So we can say a person with a disability. If you have a friend in a wheelchair, maybe say, my friend with a disability is coming, not like my disabled friend, because that focuses on the disability. And we're going to try to move away from that. So seeing the person first encourages us to be respectful in our level of communication with them, but also seeing the ability supports an equitable model. So I want to show you also how we are going to work on integrating this and how College of Adaptive Arts does this so well. You can come by College of Adaptive Arts if you were interested in integrating yourself into this community and visit one of our many schools of education. We have 10, so there's music, there's library arts, there's schools of dance, and areas where students can, you know, find what's their passion. And the mission at College of Adaptive Arts is to create an equitable learning experience for all adults with disabilities. We would like to see ourselves on a junior college campus and make it a global model similar to Special Olympics, where students with differing abilities can continue to learn. And we would change the perception of other people who believe that, oh, you know, they plateau, we stop learning, and this is not the case. So come on out. Thank you. And here are some opportunities to get involved. We have next Monday a giving luncheon. If you wanted to come out and get a free meal at Scott Seafood, meet some of our students and parents and faculty, see if you wanted to connect with people and donate there. We also have a golf classic coming up. If you like to golf, you can come out and do that. We have many opportunities for you to come out, volunteer, show your special skill, share with it. I know a lot of you have shared things that you're interested in. I have students who are interested in similar things, so to come share your expertise would be fabulous and greatly appreciated. I would also like to suggest you lend a hand and donate for our 10 for 10 at 10 and 10. So we're celebrating our 10th year. When you become a $10 recurring donor, this would be what you get as your prize. So I am a recurring donor, and that's why I have this. So we've come a long way from people with disabilities being an institution, and we move towards inclusion where we see the ability in people, but I want us to stay the course and move in that trajectory towards an integrated community with people with disabilities. So come on out, visit College of Adaptive Arts, see this collegiate model where adults with differing abilities have the opportunity to live, grow, thrive, and be valuable parts of the community. So I will be there. I have a card here if you're interested in coming out. Give us a call and come out and feel the love and see the ability.
Nicole, amazing. That was absolutely beautiful. Oh my gosh, and you hit all the marks. You did everything. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Really, really good.
Thank Joseph for that extra weekend.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's right. Since Joseph went 15 minutes, she got an extra weekend to work
Oh,
on
I
it,
didn't,
huh? Fantastic.
I'm like, oh yeah, there were other pictures.
Since we're kind of pressed
Thank
for
you.
time, I want to just point out some things. Nicole did the reoccurring extrinsic ethos beautifully.